And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foss and I'm touching base with you as I always do. And man, if you are a news junkie like myself, today is the day for a smorgasbord. It's like so much is happening in the news. Just so you know, we have this show we're going to talk with Dr. Vibe. He's our guest today, and we're going to go right into that immediately. However, if you want to linger on, there may be a second half to this show because I want to give you information on that you can look up. Like there's Malcolm. I'm going to share Malcolm's page, a couple other people's page about what's going on. This was the highest breach, some are saying, in American history. And everyone should be fired. Everyone across the board, including the president. It goes so deep, and so many people have now access around the world, our enemies, to information because of these morons. These morons have allowed our systems to be breached. And I'm going to give you some, because I'm not the expert, but I'm going to definitely connect you to the experts. And you will be able to say, wow, Ron, this is absolutely deep. Malcolm is a former, he likes to say, he puts on his page, he's the black spy. So Malcolm Nance. So you'll see his page if you haven't seen it already. I think I posted it on my YouTube channel so that people can see it. Great brother to follow if you're interested in knowing what's going on around the world, because he gives it straight. He doesn't filter it with the politics he's an amazing guy. And he's also fought for Ukraine. He's done so much. But anyway, he knows this stuff. This is what he did. This is what he did for a living, hacking and listening in on conversations of the most important people in the world to get information. But that's it. I'm just going to give you that. But today we have a special guest. Now, for those that don't know, Dr. Vibe is huge. First, he was huge before he got onto Indie Soup, but he's on Indie Soup, and we're on the Indie Soup family. And is this the first Indie Soup interview I'm doing with a fellow Indie Soup person? I think it is. How appropriate. Because Dr. Vibe has been in the game for a decade. He's won awards. Can I take a moment and share his some information about him? Epic conversation with no formal training in coding or broadcasting. Dr. Vibe has become Canada's Prince of Podcasts. He dominates the internet when it comes to hosting intelligent, entertaining conversation on race and gender. His experience as a TV reporter injects an extra dose of thoughtfulness into all of his interviews, setting him apart from the average online broadcaster. He brings that same professionalism and insight to all of his online conversations across the platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Are y'all feeling this vibe? Are y'all feeling this, the weight of the moment? His main mission is to peel back the layers. Oh, let me go back. Dr. Vibe has been the host and producer of his own online show, The Dr. Vibe Show. For the last decade, he has done over 3,000 interviews with people from all over the world. On top of that, his main mission in all of it is to peel back the layers of the mainstream media's construct around Black males to reveal the positivity that is often clouded. He's been featured on platforms such as CTV News Channel because of his candid and informed opinions. Well, with no further ado, I'm going to bring to the stage, because we're just having a conversation today. We're just going to be talking. I don't even know what we're going to talk about. I just know he's going to share a little bit about his background, but there's so much we could talk about because he likes to talk and I like to talk. So we could be here for hours, but we know we got to be respectful of your time. And also, if you are in the building, make sure you hit the like. And I'm watching you guys on TikTok. I see you in TikTok. I see you over there. So we're on TikTok this morning, Instagram, LinkedIn, and also our wonderful YouTube channel. Okay, so make sure you hit the likes. Make sure you comment in the comment boxes. If you have questions, make sure you throw them in as the conversation is going. We can always click on it. He does exactly what I do. I should say I do exactly what he does, and that we respect the audience comments. We both go through comments and what you're saying. So if you have questions, you have ideas, you have thoughts, he is a podcaster, and he is going to help us and get some insight on how he started in podcasting. What are some of the pitfalls that may occur? How can you, if you're interested in being a podcaster, what kind of foundation should you have in place? That's what we're going to be doing here today. But again, it's a conversation because I'm just curious about the man. I just like watching his show. I've learned so much about health, about men issues, about he just did a show regarding Black boys, and it's not just you'll be surprised. Black boys have the same problem in England, I should say UK, Canada, United States, Africa. It was a great show. He'll tell you more about that if he wants to. But anyway, I'm bringing to the stage my indie suit colleague, Dr. Vibe. What's going on, sir?
Everything's going on. What is going on, everybody? Hope everyone's keeping blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Ron, I want to thank you so much for investing the most important thing you have in your life, your time, to hang out with a allegedly guy that does some good stuff. So I'm honored and blessed. And I have to apologize. I didn't really set you up for success because what you read is pretty old, because now I've done over 5,000 online shows.
Oh, we need to update. We got to update.
I got to update that. So when you're really going, I'm not setting up Ron for success. And I've done over 5,000 online shows. I'm a 2-time Canadian Ethnic Media Association Award winner. So I'm bending down because my main mentor says, when you say something, see if you can, show proof. So this is one of the awards right now. Best Podcast News Award winner 2020. Given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also won their Innovation Award back in 2018, which is their second highest level of achievement. And even in the description you read, another thing, I co-host and produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care.
Wow.
And our team is, since 2020, our team has reached out to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. There's many Dr. Vibe shows, because I host the Dr. Vibe show. I host Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Jill. I host the Morning Vibe. I host Black Canada Talking. I host Black Men Can Talk, and I also host a show about fatherhood. So
how do you do this?
First of all, I enjoy what I do.
Yes.
Second of all, it's bigger than me.
Yes.
And I delegate. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that you don't see, a lot of them interns that help us work together and win together. When I have people on my show, because I don't do podcasts. Everyone says I do a show. Ron, you can relate. The work that you have to do to put this out, it's a show. There's production. There's a whole lot of things. And most of the audience only sees the end product.
Yes.
One day you should ask, Ron, what does it take for you to show up on screen? Be an interesting conversation. Before we go any further, I want to say hi to Hannah. Want to say hi to Danette. Want to say hi to Amparo, Chris R, Alicia, Bryson, Jazzy, JR Houston Jack, what's up? Kimmy, Danette, all these Jazzy. Hey, what's up, Dr. Tachi, the Yoda of everything here.
Yeah, the Yoda.
Because you said something really important, Ron, that without those people, we're not here.
That's right.
For me, it's always when I host a conversation, an epic conversation, I like to say, it's all about the people that come on with me. I don't regard them as guests. I regard them as friends.
Yes.
And the audience. A great online show is when the audience, the guests or guests, well, the friends, I like to call them friend or friends are happy. The audience is happy. Then I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I will stop now. And that's another thing you say. We could talk for hours. Ron, I feel we share. We don't talk.
Yes.
All right. I'll leave it at that. And and this is rare because a lot of times I'm always asking conversation pieces. I don't.
You're the one on the other side.
I just say conversations, but more and more people are trying to find out about me and what's going on in my alleged mind or how I got to where I am now. And one last thing, I'm not perfect. Just want
no one is. No one is.
But I want to put out there, and if someone asks me a question I don't know about it, I will certainly, pull on someone else's experience, I can certainly get back to you. I'm done. Stick me with a fork. Let's go forward. Let's go.
Here we go. Here we go.
Let's go. And it's an honor to finally be on your platform. And congratulations on all the hard work that you put in to provide great content, great engagement, and great quality program, not only to your platform, but a contributor to the Indie Soup platform, which I contribute content to, and I'm a member of the board. So there we go. Done.
There you go.
On.
We are first of all, I am honored to have you here, and this is so I'm so excited to. I was just sitting there like when just watching you on your show, and I was like, wait a minute, let me invite Dr. Vibe on here so that way we can connect.
Can I interrupt?
To see you.
I want to interrupt there. That a lot of people don't be afraid to ask.
That's right.
Right. And I put it out there in the Indie Soup community. Hey, if you want to come on my platform or you want to be, just ask.
Yes.
And I'll give you a real life story. There is a wonderful creator. Her name is Tanya Smith. I got introduced to her a few weeks ago. Amazing content creator. I mean, if there's anyone that needs to have a voiceover voice, Tanya Smith is amazing. And I was so impressed. And I've just watched a few of her conversations, and she's bringing so much added positive value. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to reach out to her and see if she wants to be on my show. I reached out to her via video message. That's another thing we may get to. And she said she'd be honored. Here's a lady that's well established in the content field. She said yes. Don't be afraid to ask, because when you ask, you find out where you stand and where you need to go. All right, continue.
So, Dr. Vibe, how did this all begin? How did this all begin? Where did you start? Where in the world did you start in your life and said, I want to talk to people. I want to connect with people, and I want to share with people. And then now you're where you are today. So how did it all begin? Where did it start?
Well, most people are brand new. Dr. Tachi may have heard this before, but many years ago, when I had hair,
had hair, right?
Yeah, there you go. I had graduated from university, and I said, great. I'm tired of taking stuff and writing essays I can't even relate to. And there was a bookstore in Toronto. I'm based in Toronto, by the way, called Burke's Bookstore, which I used to go to all the time. And one day I went in there and I picked up this book. Black Men. The lights. There we go. Black Men, Obsolete, Single, and Dangerous. Stories of the African American Family in Transition. I went, okay. So I sat down in Burke's Bookstore and hailed up to Sam and Rita Burke. Incredible, incredible individuals. And I read the first chapter. I said, okay, I'm going to buy this. I read that whole book in one night. I had never in my life read a book of that length in one night because it aligned and related to me.
Wow.
And I said, some way, somehow, I'm going to do something online to provide a safe and brave space for Black Canadian men and those who love them.
Mm.
And I said, okay, and I did some research and I just started. And here we go. So all I had when I started, this was the actual microphone I use. Blue Snowball is the micro. All I had was this microphone, a laptop, and a dream. Did our first
Wow.
conversation with a co-host who's transitioned, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a conversation at my dining room table. And we did it for 3 or 4 months. And I said, you know what? I don't want to be the center of attention when I'm hosting an online conversation. I want the people who are on the other side and the audience to be that focus. We took a break. And for me, a lot of things, great ideas have a birth, death, and resurrection.
Yes.
We took some time off, came back, and I said, all right. Oh, doctor, okay, agreed. And we came back and I said, all right, what can I do next to take the attention off me? Oh, why don't I just ask other people that I know to come on the show? And there would be times I'd be invited to dinner parties and I would put my laptop, connect this microphone, and we would just chat. Then I said, okay, we dealt having me be the center. We've dealt with having people that I know as the center.
Mm-hmm.
What about people I don't know?
Mm.
At the time, I reached out online saying shows about podcasting. The first show that showed up in the search was a show called The Podcaster's Studio, hosted by a gentleman named Ray Ortega. He still does stuff now, but at that time he was based in Washington. We had a conversation and he said to me, and he turned my thought process around in 24 hours. He said, Dr. Vibe, your goal should be, when it comes to Black Canadian men that host shows, they think of you first. Bam.
Mm.
Then I asked Ray, I want to do all this sitting in my home. I don't want to be traveling up and down, because when you go to do an interview with someone or a conversation at another location, what happens if they cancel halfway through?
Yes. Which happens.
Yes. And you can relate to this. You can relate, because the most valuable thing we have in life is our time. You can't buy time. Never lost a fight. Yeah, Dr. Tachi Ray is still putting stuff out periodically on YouTube, and whenever he does, I say, "Hey, what's up?" And we always just chat with each other. He's still doing stuff periodically on YouTube. And then so I lost my train. Yeah. So I asked Ray, I said, Ray, I want to be able to sit in my yard and have conversations with people around the world. He said, okay, let me introduce you to someone. He introduced me to a gentleman named Mike Phillips, who lived in North Carolina. And at that time, he had at least 20 years of audio engineering experience. Got on a call with him via Skype. And for those people who don't know, and Dr. Tachi knows, Skype is going to be gone in May, by the way, no more. For those people who still even
all
use
these years, right?
Yes, right.
Skype was the beginning. It was before Zoom.
Yes, 100%. He directed me to Mike Phillips, and I said, Mike, I want to be able to do online shows sitting in my home with people around the world. He said, Dr. Vibe, if you want to do that, you gotta need a mixer. I said, Mike, the only mixers I know is when I go to a club or I want to go to a concert. But lesson learned, when someone has even one more day experience in something than you, they're the expert.
Yes.
I said, okay, Mike, which mixer should I buy? He suggested it. Then we spent about 5 hours back and forth on Skype, getting it connected, et cetera, and then that started the expansion of conversations around the world. One of the first major wins that I had is people have masterminds, but back then masterminds were really done online before everyone does this stuff for groups. And there was a lady named Marie Roker Jones. We're part of a group, and she said, Dr. Vibe, you know what? You should see if you can get your content on the Good Men Project. I said, I have no idea what that is. Looked it up. It was a website dedicated to men and those who love them that gets, I got to remember, 6 million page views every month.
Wow.
And 2 million unique visitors every month.
Wow.
Okay. I could have said, you know what? That's too big for me.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
you know what I did? I reached out to a gentleman who was one of the editors. Can't remember his name right now. And I just sent him some stuff. 2 weeks later, I get this call on Skype. Oh, wow. Says, this Dr. Vibe? Yes. I'm so-and-so from the Good Men Project. We'd like to have your content on our platform. He was calling me from a restaurant in Singapore.
Wow.
And that just started the journey to many different things.
Wow. And so what I would what I'm learning,
We can do a part 2, Ron, by the way.
but what I'm learning, it's something I've always said, and I'm glad that you said it and shared it the way you shared it, is that you had an idea, you had a heartfelt I need to do. You did not wait for some, all the great mechanics of a microphone and computer technology and all the bells and whistles. You just said, I'm going to do it. And then you also you had the ability to adjust, to respond to your first introduction into this arena.
Mm-hmm.
And then you stepped out in faith and just said, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to meet the people I know, I need to know, and I'm going to connect with the people I need to connect with. And here we are.
Well, and the stuff I really believe in now, as you're sharing this with me and I reflected, I was already doing, but not recognizing it.
Yeah.
And that, as one of my main mentors, Mary Armstrong, and huge hail up to him and his dear wife, Nicole, and his team, as he always says, dreams don't have an expiry date. Also, I think a number of us, we quit when it gets hard.
Yes.
And there's something to be saying about resiliency. We probably have all, myself included, jumped away from something when it really got hard.
Mm-hmm.
But as Mario told me a long time ago, it's what did he say? You reach the hardest part when it's the easiest time to quit.
Yeah.
And I just kept persistent, and I just always said, it's bigger than me. It's always bigger than me.
Yes.
If I only focus this on me, I probably would have jumped away from this a long time ago.
Absolutely.
But I'm enjoying what I'm doing now more than ever, because just seeing the positive impact for individuals by them either just showing up or contact saying, wow, that was really good, is just so invigorating for me. And you said something about you met the right people. I like to put myself in rooms where people don't expect me to be.
Mm-hmm.
Many times I like to observe the masses and do the opposite.
Now, what made you have that? What caused you to have that instinct?
I was seeing what everyone was doing, and I said, okay, what are they not doing?
Mm-hmm.
What need is not being served? Like one of the things I believe too is that find the need and fill it. Don't find the need and kill it.
Yeah. I have a question also. Well, it's probably a two-part question. What were the influences on your life that gave you that resilience? You talk about, because I think anyone that's done anything, especially in podcasts or being online, content creators, influencers, in the beginning, it's a lonely road in most cases.
It still is. It still
And
can be at times.
It's a matter of, like you said, staying consistently with it. I had a conversation with I was at a networking event this last week.
Make sure your net is working, by the way.
And yeah, exactly, the networking. And they were in the circle, it's a lot of young entrepreneurs. And my advice to them was stay consistent. Be consistent, show up. Don't just come out just to hand out cards. Don't come just to kind of like be a part and then disappear. People will do business with you or connect with you because of your consistency. And you have done that with your Dr. Vibe platform. Where did that come from? Where did that resilience come from?
Man, we could spend the rest of the next few minutes on this, but let me go like I always, again, one of the things I said early on, it's bigger than me. It's before I get up every morning, I say my prayers, I do my meditation, I say what's one thing I need to help myself today, and what's one thing I can do to help someone else today. As I reflect more on this type of question as I go on in my journey, I look at my parents. My dad, who was born in Jamaica, when he graduated from a private boys' school in Jamaica, went to Howard University.
Wow, okay.
So think about young Jamaican boy, 16 years old, going to Howard University, who at the time, one of his professors was the late Toni Morrison.
Wow. HU.
There you go, Dr. Tachi,
HU in the house, right?
And his girlfriend at the time, which later became his wife, my mother, she was practicing nursing in a city just outside of Toronto. And they had not seen each other for a few years. My dad took a bus overnight from Washington to Niagara Falls, and then Niagara Falls to this place where she lived. At that time, there was no highway connecting Niagara Falls, Ontario, and the place where she was at. When he came up here, she said, you know what, honey, when I finish my nursing stint here, I'll come down and live in the US. She says, no, honey, I'm going to come live here in Canada. When he came here, he had an economics degree from Howard University. The best job he could get was sweeping floors at a grocery store. So she said, you know what? If I'm marrying you, you're not going to be sweeping floors. So she paid for him to go to teacher's college.
Wow.
Then, after graduating from teacher's college, he became a public school teacher in the same public school for 38 years.
Wow. He had someone that believed in him.
Yeah. And also his resiliency.
Yeah.
And a little while back, I said, like, Dad, why did you travel from like commute or drive at least an hour and a half every day? He said, I had to take care of my family.
Simple.
I get it from him. And she was a nurse for many years. So that consistency and service of people, and now I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And hey, I'm not perfect, and I work to get a little bit better. Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday, Chris R.
Yeah. And I've also seen that the people that I respect, that's a key part of their makeup.
Wow. I don't think, it's like someone said, I don't know who was, I was looking at someone's podcast, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe it was 3 weeks ago. And they were sharing how, they have they had a large audience. And they said, but when it started out, it wasn't allowed a large audience. That it was many, many, many years. It was just a couple of people, 100 people, maybe 15 people, 20 people, and it just slowly grew over over time, over decades.
Yep, persistent and consistent, right? And always think of the audience and the people you have on first.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it for numbers, you can, but I want to be able to help people see the lives of others and how it can impact them or how it spread to other people.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
believe it or not, I don't have a large following, but the people who follow me, they're really aligned. So I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for them, and they bring me joy.
Yeah, that is one of the, I think, like for me, um, it's more about showing up for the people that are here. I always say when I first started doing this thing, I was like, if it's just one person, I'm happy
Hey, the key
because
thing
you're
is that
making a
you showed
difference
up.
in one person.
The key thing is that you showed up.
Yes, right.
That's the key. That
It
you
doesn't
show up.
matter.
It's that you show up, right? And I really promote, and Dr. Tatsi's here, that Indie Soup Media has over, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Tatsi, over 25K subscribers.
25,000 as of
right?
this. She just mentioned yesterday. Yes.
Yeah. Now, put this in perspective. Only 4% of all YouTube channels have over 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
So if you are watching this on Indie Soup Media, you're part of a movement that is rare air.
Yeah. And we get to be repeated on Indie Soup at 4 o'clock
There you go.
every day.
There you go.
We're here live. So here's another question for you. You have 5,000 interviews under your belt.
Yep.
What would you say was the, you don't have to say which
Here
one, right? It's hard to narrow it down.
I have a feeling this is going to be.
But which one is one of your babies? Like one of your most memorable moments that you had on interacting online, connecting with someone. What was one of, I know it's many, but one of the most memorable moments you've had, and what made it so memorable?
People ask me this question all the time, and it's so challenging. I'll pick one off the top of my alleged mind. Very early in my journey, I did a conversation with someone in the entertainment field. And thereafter, I spoke with their representative, and we was just having after show conversation. And she started to share a little bit about her story. I said, you should come on the show. And he said, well, I don't know what I talk about. I'm sure you have some things you'd want to chat about. So you know what? I'll come on. And she shared how she was molested in her youth by family members. So for someone I had who I never saw before, only a verbal conversation for about 10 minutes, to come on the platform and to be able to share that was something.
Yeah.
That was, and providing people that safe and brave space. Because again, this is someone I never knew. And they just jumped on and just shared about that. I just went, wow.
And the trust. I mean, the trust that they had to have to trust you and your space and the audience that was listening.
Well,
that's a lot of trust.
Yeah, well, that's why I say for especially new friends that come on the platform, I'd say I don't do interviews, I do conversations.
Yeah.
And especially new people, when they hear that, they go, oh, I love that. Bang. So even before we've turned on the broadcast button, they go, and I say, I got your back. So I do conversations, not interviews. Good. And I say, this is all about you. And I'm only going to ask conversation pieces based on what you share with me.
Yes. That I don't know how I learned that, but I adopted that philosophy early on, because one, I'm when I was growing up, I used to have stacks.
By the way, we're still growing up, all of us.
Yeah,
by the
way. When I was a child, I had stacks of books called Curious George. My mother and they. I'm definitely Curious George. I probably look a little bit like Curious George.
I'm not
but
going there.
but I loved Curious George, and Curious George was one of my favorite books. I couldn't wait. We used to get these envelopes. They used to come in the mail, and it couldn't fit in the mailbox, so they
You
just
you
sit it
need to
on
do a
top of
show
it.
about that, about Curious George. And you
Oh
know, you ask your
man,
audience, what books did you used to read when you actually that'd be a great see, and I'm
that's a
always
good.
a creative. Get your family, because my audience, I
Uh-huh.
don't call them out, I call them family. Hey, let's do a show and bring a book that you really enjoyed from when you were growing up and share the
That would
titles
be
and
a good one.
experiences.
I like that idea.
Yeah, like
But
that would be a
Curious
great
George,
idea. Yeah.
I'm a Curious George, and so I am just drawn to people. I want to know about people. I just want to. I can sit down. I've been accused of being able to sit down with anyone, anything, any person, any
Beautiful.
animal. I
100%.
just I'm drawn to my curiosity about who they are, where they come from, what they do, how they do it, and I can go on because my brain just keeps going on because I learned so much from others and just their journey. I wasn't that guy that had to go through the journey to learn my lessons. I learned early on that it was the people around me. I learned their journey, and their journey prevented me from going down certain roads, certain ways, certain other places. Or I said, "Oh wow, that's a great place to go. I need to do that." And so I've always, since I was a kid, have been prone towards learning about people. I used to have collections of biographies and all the different Bible biographies and all the missionaries and pioneers and I was always drawn by in books and in real life of people. So you have that, and you have this ability to make everyone feel at home on your show. And
Thank you.
what goes into determining the subject matters? Because you have the young lady comes on with health, and she is amazing. I took so
Yes.
many notes. There,
Carolyn Nicole.
oh my gosh, I was like, oh no, and then one of my friends, somebody in the audience here, we were like, dog it wine. We love our wine.
Yes. Is that JR?
There's Miss G is in the building.
Yes, in the
And
house.
we were talking about, oh no, not that liquor stuff. And but she's in the building. Then you had a gentleman that was I think he was from England. And
Oh,
he was,
Tugs. Yeah,
yes,
on
he
the
was
Black
talking
Men Can
about
Talk.
black
Yeah,
men and
yeah,
boys. He was talking about the black boys and
yep,
how we need to be sensitive and we need to be aware of them. We need to, and then he gave stats and he was sharing about, you know, where where you see how you see them, when you see them, how they disappear.
yep.
I mean, he went through so many levels of the conversation. How do you pick your topics?
Well, a little bit of research, but people come to me these days
Mm,
because I've been blessed, but I've been consistent. I'm still around. A lot of
mm-hmm,
the people who, when I was starting this journey, say, "Well, what are you doing?" And now they're
mm-hmm.
saying, "You're still doing this?" And then say, "Oh, can you help me get something started?"
Okay.
A lot of it is relationships. I just, if I see something of interest, and I'll just reach out to the person again. Perfect example I mentioned at the beginning, Tanya Smith. I love what she does because it's making me better.
Mm,
And I reach out to her and say, "Hey, I'd love to have you on the show. And also, how can I potentially help you?"
yes.
So it's co-creative. It's not a one-sided thing. How can I help you? How can I
Mhm.
potentially help you? It may not be now. It may be 2 or 3 years down the road. I'll give a perfect and also you never know who's watching. Now, I know you're still drinking the wine. Don't worry. I won't tell Carolyn and JR. So here's a perfect example. And Dr. Tatch is here, and I mentioned this gentleman way back in the Blab days. For those people who remember Blab, there was a gentleman from England named Leon. There's a lot
Mm,
of marketing stuff in England, all that, etc. We hadn't spoken for, I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to see the last time Leon and I had a conversation. conversation, at least via Skype. Okay, the last conversation I had in Skype with Leon, June 30th, 2021.
Okay.
Or on 2021. I see conversations. Okay. December 24th, Christmas Eve 2021. All of a sudden this year on February 27th, he reaches out to me. We eventually had a conversation. He goes, Dr. Vibe, I've been watching you via Twitch. I had no idea. Consistent. And now we're going to be having an offline conversation tomorrow, how he can get me exposed on platforms in England. So could you imagine if I stopped?
Exactly.
And he's treating me like Dr. Vibe. I go, I'm just the guy. He goes, no.
Because you again, probably the theme of this conversation will be consistency.
Also relationships.
And relationships.
And you had mentioned when you were at this networking group, and I like to do things a little different. Like me or don't like me. I don't want connections. I want relationships. I want relationships.
It's interesting you would say that, because I'm one of my jobs at the Manhattan Chambers. I'm one of the ambassadors, and so I walk around, in these events, and I let them know. I say, look, just because I'm wearing this badge that says ambassador doesn't mean I'm here to be, like, oh, you're the one of the ambassadors. I said, no, this means I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to give you information that you may not know. And one of my rule of thumbs when I'm at these networking events, and I usually pull I'm in different crowds along the way, and I always mention, it's interesting you would say it because I'm a believer of it, is that it's not important how many cards you collect, how many people you meet in this space, in this moment. It's about grabbing and connecting with 2 or 3 people, getting to know them, build a relationship with them, invite them for coffee, connect with them. Those 3 people you will remember when you leave this place. If you try to mingle and meet everyone in the room, you'll know no one. But if you invest in 3, she said, really? I said, I only come to networking meetings to meet 3 people. She was like, the group was there, like, really?
Yeah. Well,
I said, only 3 people.
You have a plan. You have a process, and that's
build a relationship.
Yeah. For me, I was at one of the. I'm very particular about my time and where I spend it. And I was at, I've been invited again because I've been selective where I put myself. I've met a gentleman, and he was actually on the Morning Vibe on Monday, Craig Switson, and he is part of an organization called Corporate Connections, which is a global organization, and they have regular meetings. And every other meeting they invite guests, and I love what they do at their meetings, because what they do is everyone who attends, even if you're a guest, you have 45 seconds to introduce yourself. But what they say is, we don't care so much what you do. We want to know where you need help, because there may be other people in the room that may be able to assist you. I loved that process. Don't care so much of what you do. Where do you need help? And they even have that on their app. Where do you need help?
Yeah.
That I love that thought process. And every time I go to one of their meetings, I meet someone, or Craig has introduced me to like so many people, and him are like twin sons of different mothers. We're just different colors. He's a little lot lighter than I am, but we always have conversations, and there's at least 3 or 4 people that he's introduced me to. We just have check-ins every month.
Yes.
We just have check-ins every month. maybe we talk a little about business, but we just, so what's going on, this and that, the other thing, you know, and I have a hard stop probably at 5 to the hour because I have to meet one of the people that he's introduced me to, but I want
Yes.
to do a part 2. But this is the thing that, how can you help them? The word success has 3 S's in it.
Yes.
Service, sacrifice, selflessness.
Say that one more time.
The word success has 3 S's in it. Service, sacrifice, selflessness.
I love it. I love it. That is, I don't think you can do any of this without it. I mean, again, people do try, and there are people out there that may get some success, but then the endurance is probably not going to be there.
Yeah, and not every success has to be monetary.
Yes, right.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I mean, if I must say, most success has nothing to do with the monetary.
Going to give you another quick. I'm a storyteller these days, and storytelling is so important.
Oh, yeah.
It's really, and you do a great job at it. Also, Dr. Tachi does a great job at it. During the pandemic, I was on a Zoom call with a group of people, business people, and there was a gentleman on there who was 81 years old. This gentleman runs a company. He has a team that mentors CEOs and high-level entrepreneurs. And I was fascinated by this man. And he started the company when he was 67.
See, you're never too old to start.
So what did Dr. Vibe do, Ron?
Let's talk. Let's have a conversation.
I reached out to him and I said, John, his name is John Wilson. I said, John, I was blown away with what you had to share. Can I, and Dr. Tachi, can I have 11 minutes of your time? We had a conversation. It was so amazing. And then I'd never be afraid to say, hey, John, can I get half an hour of your time each month?
Yeah.
Say, people, just half an hour. That's 81 years of wisdom.
Yes. Yes.
Monthly. He said yes. About a month or two, and we still communicate. And it's even more crazy now. He emailed me and said, Dr. Vibe, we're starting our speaker series again in person. I'd love to invite you to our first speaker series post-pandemic. I said, okay. So I went on to take a look at it on Eventbrite. He says, it's $500 a person. He said, you can come and bring any guests you want on me. So I'm always learning, and curious is a very important trait that you have. Curiosity is a beautiful thing. I go to the event, I come in the door, and this is great practice for anyone. Who's the first person that greets me?
He does.
Dr. Vibe, a pleasure to finally meet you. Energy. He shakes my hand. I felt it was an 18-year-old shaking my hand, not an 81-year-old shaking my hand. Wonderful. Go there. Here's some tips, people, if you're running events. He gets on the stage. He says, this is what time we're going to start. This is what time we're going on break. This is what time we're coming back from break. And this is what time we're going home. We finished 10 minutes early. Whether it's in person or online, all their things start and end on time.
On time.
During that event, I went up and said, during the lunch, I said, John, this is phenomenal. I know I can't thank you. Dr. Vibe, let me introduce you to my board. He says, hey, first person he introduced me. We call this Hamburger Ron. I go, why do you call him that, John? Because he was president of Wendy's Canada for 5 years.
Hamburger Ron.
Now, here's the thing. Ever since they've had those, he's always invited me free of charge.
Wow.
Now, I haven't communicated with him since the last event, which is about 2 or 3 months ago. I get an email a few days from him. Oh, I got to respond to that email in a second too. I'm going to read you this email. And I hadn't communicated with him at least 2 months. At least 2 months.
Mm.
I'm going to read you a little bit of this email he sent to me a few days ago. Another one of their in-person events. Listen to the title, Leadership Now, Thriving in Uncertainty. I want to be there.
Yeah, sounds like where we are today,
Dr.
right?
Vibe, it's been quite some time since we touched. Yes, exactly. Goes, it's been quite some time since we touched base. I hope that's going well in today's business landscape. Uncertainty isn't just a challenge, it's the new normal. The best leaders don't just react to change, they seize it as an opportunity. I would like to invite you as my guest on May 8th to the Toronto Congress Center for Leadership Now, Thriving in Uncertainty, the next event in our exclusive speakers series with top CEOs and industry experts will share insights on navigating disruption and success and driving success in these unpredictable times. Bam.
Mm.
So it's not what you know, it's what people know about you.
Yes.
So
yes.
If him and I've developed a relationship and he knows, and I'm going to be sending him a video message today because I was in a meeting last week and nothing just happens. I was telling this person how much I appreciate him. So I'm not going to just send him an email. I'm going to say, John, I just want to share a little story. I was in a conversation last week and just shared how much I respect you. And you sent this email.
Wow. Relationships. Yeah. Relationships matter.
Absolutely. 100%.
We cannot survive without relationships.
Well, the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself.
Ooh, say that again. Say that. I was just telling folks this week, look yourself in the mirror. Have a conversation with yourself. You have to have it.
There's a book that I read many years ago called What Do You Say When You Talk to Yourself?
Yes, because a lot of times we talk negative to ourselves.
And when we say something, the first person that hears it is us. So are you speaking light? Or are you speaking darkness on yourself? And other people are listening to you.
Yes.
And also, they'll be judging, okay, what's going on underneath the cover?
Yes. Because, as I get older in life, one thing I've learned as a principal, and you've heard the statement, when people show you and tell you who they are, believe them. Believe them.
You learn
because
more
they can talk, they can share, and it's when you connect with individuals and they say, "Oh, I'm just so horrible of a person. I'm just so this. I'm whatever they call themselves." And over the years, I've learned some people obviously have lack of confidence or whatever that may be, but there is some truth in the way they see themselves, maybe, and a lot of times as they're confessing these things, it is where they're at. It's not where they may want to be or where they can be, but it's where they're at. That's their moment. When they tell you who they are, it's a snapshot. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that's their whole life every day. Maybe it's not their whole life for the last 10 years. But when they tell you who they are or demonstrate it, it is a snapshot of who they are in that moment. Can they change? Yes. But they have to begin to start speaking to themselves in a different way.
Yeah.
You have to see yourself as being a victor. You have to see yourself as, I can do all things through. I can. You got to start thinking that way, renewing your mind, right? You got to start thinking in a better way so that you can triumph on the things you need to triumph on or to be a champion.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. No, the only thing I'd add on to that with people is that we need to accept people where they are, not where we want them to be.
Yes.
And where we have to accept them where they are, not where we want to be. What's one of the major reasons there are arguments in the world? Because one person is trying to convince another person to do or think a certain way, and they're not budging.
They ain't moving with it.
They ain't moving with it. So, one of the things I will say to people is when in a conversation and I want to get to the next step, I'll say, do you agree with this? Yeah. Is that fair?
Yes.
People will more likely move with you when they feel they're being treated fairly than when they are not feeling being treated fairly.
Well, I know you have to go, right? You have you have a meeting, right, coming up?
I have I don't do meetings there. I do conversations.
Conversation.
Conversation. But is any last thing you want to share? I'm more than happy to come back for part 2 because I think there's probably a myriad things you want to actually didn't get to.
Oh,
so next
time, this was a conversation, and when you're in a conversation, you just have a conversation.
You go with the flow. Well, here's another thing for all the people. Another thing that people will find interesting. Done over 5,000 conversations. And pretty not even recently. I'd say 90% of them, I didn't come with questions. The only question I would say is after I introduce the friends, I give some of their background and say, what else do you want? What else do we need to know? And then just from that, questions flow. Not questions, conversation flows.
Where can people find you, sir?
I'm the upstairs. I live upstairs at Ron's place. So I just upstairs.
Where can people find you?
The best place is two ways.
Yes.
The Dr. Vibe Show, which is actually just on YouTube, the Dr. Vibe Show. If you put in DR period space VIBE, Dr. Vibe Show, I'm good there. And my email address is DR period VIBE at the DRVIBESHOW.com. Would love to hear from you because I need to grow. There we go. Wonderful. Bam, bam.
There's the man right there. There he is.
Bam, bam. Yeah. And I just got informed. I just passed 2 posting over 2,500 videos on YouTube.
You got 2.6K.
But here's another funny thing, people. Yes, I look comfortable in front of the camera now. I didn't want to do this when I first started. I didn't want to do this. What did I do? I did audio shows. For my first video show, I got the person who had the most downloads of an audio show up until that time on my platform, and I brought him on with me. And at that time, he had 10,000 followers around the world.
Wow.
Why did I do that? Well, if you want to grow your audience, there's 1 of 3 ways. You can buy it, which I wouldn't recommend. You can grow it organically, which I've basically been doing most of the time. And also you can borrow someone's audience. And what do you mean borrowing someone's audience? When you appear on, I'm on Ron's platform right now. I'm borrowing his audience. I'm getting exposed to his audience.
Yeah.
So that's what I suggest. And collaboration and conversation. Likes don't pay the lights.
Hey, hello. They do not. Right? Even though hit the likes, y'all. Hit the likes.
Hit the likes. But if you're doing it for money, likes don't pay the lights. Have engagement with your audience. Thank you, Danette. Love it. Hopefully I'll be allowed to come back on a.
You will be. You have an open invitation.
Provide some insights of this madness. And again, a hail out to Dr. Chachi, because if it wasn't for Dr. Chachi, you and I wouldn't be on the screen together.
True.
Probably highly remote, highly doubtful that we'd be on the screen together. And as I said, I don't know everything. I am learning every day. Curious.
Yeah.
And even up to last night, I was talking to Dr. Chachi. I said, man, I want to see if I can live stream for another platform, and it was bugging me. And I spent some time last night. I said, okay, I think I can still use it, not to the full extent, but I think I can still use it. And I'm always curious, and don't try to do this thing called life alone.
There you go.
Because if you're not careful, life will kill you. Sorry to
Yeah.
say it that way. And we all probably know people in life has taken them before their time and before
Yep.
they're ready. So you have a great host here. He is an amazing individual. He brings a lot of good energy. And that's another thing too, people. If you're going to do this stuff, bring good energy.
Bring it.
Why make sure there's a reason why they're watching you. And people say to me, I just love your energy.
Yes, I love you. And that's what drew me into you, is like the energy. I'm about good energy.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with good energy.
100%. And as always, I'm going to finish off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And a lot of times when I say that to people, they go, oh, I need to hear that.
Yes.
And
Give
then,
yourself grace.
yeah, and if you're not making money, make history and try to do both. And then finally, make it better.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I agree 100%. Well,
Thank you, family. Thank you
well,
for
Dr.
accommodating me
Vibe.
today. Hope I didn't overshare here. I hope I didn't do that.
No,
and I'm looking forward to be back.
You will be back.
I'm very excited to be back and be able to share some more. I don't talk with people like Ronnie. We share.
Yes, you will be back to share, to have more conversations.
100%.
So I'm gonna let you go.
All right.
And guys, I just want to say thank you for tuning in, but I'm not gonna let you go. So we're gonna stay a little bit overtime today because I did want to dive into some politics that was.
Oh my gosh, it's time for me to go. Bye.
Yeah.
And so there we go. No, we have a running joke in Canada right now. We're thinking of building a border.
We're building a border.
We're thinking about building a border wall, but that's another conversation.
That's another conversation. I was also tempted to say, you know what? I want to know what Dr. Vibe is saying in Canada. What are the people saying? And so I wanted to know what Black people were talking about in Canada. So we'll be talking about that another time. But guys, did you enjoy that? Wasn't that great? There's so much happening. Again, make sure you can go to his page, Dr. Vibe. You can subscribe. Lots of great interviews there. Again, turn on your notifications so that way you can get the information. Lots of great shorts, videos, but the lives are just incredible. And check out what he's doing over there, and you will learn so much. And I love it. I love the platform. I love that I get to see it also in repeats. Like sometimes I don't get to see it in the morning. I get to see it on Indie Soup, which is where we are on repeat as well. So I am so thankful for Dr. Tachi and Indie Soup and the Indie Soup family. We are in this together. We do it. No one can do this alone. We need each other. And Kelly says Black assumptions. Yeah, there's a whole lot going on. I see also Kelly says great conversation. Auntie Hannah says thank you. And Janet says to him, you were very generous. We'll finish up later. Yes. And so guys, I mean, there's a whole lot going on in the world. The security breach, I mean, I'm not gonna go deep into it because we'll do this tomorrow, but I just want you to know, I'm gonna give you some homework. And the reason why I want you to do this, and because I want you to understand and I already, some of you I've had conversations with, and I've mentioned to you that something horrible would happen in this country because of Trump and his administration. We are probably at the doorstep of something really bad about to happen. And unless you understand what happened when it comes to this conversation on Signal and sharing information, that is a security breach. And you saw them finagling at the Capitol Hill yesterday. There is some really bad things that are happening, and you need to know. But I definitely want to share this with you because this, to me, I'm going to share. Let me just stop sharing that one and then put this one up, because You need to see this, and I'm just giving this to you so you can listen to it. I'll give you the first half of it, just not a half, but just a moment of it. This is Malcolm Nance, who is titled also The Black Spy. He has done amazing work in covert operations. He's done, I mean, if you want to know about, some of you say, Ron, how do you know some of this stuff? You learn from the best. And this is one of the best people in this whole spy situation. He knows all about what goes on, what's happening. Here's just a little piece of what talking about. Hold on a second.
Mike Waltz, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, the National Director of Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, Mike Radcliffe, the Director of the CIA, and another group of people that totaled 18 in advance of a U.S. attack on Yemen against Houthi rebels that had been attacking shipping in the Red Sea. And they did a thing. They did a very interesting thing. So today, you might notice I'm not wearing my Ukrainian flag pin. I'm wearing my Association of Former Intelligence Officers flag pin. And I am drinking my double espresso, which is about my 30th today, in my National Security Agency vintage 1980s cup.
Heavenly beauty unfolds on stage.
Because we are going to talk about what could arguably be the greatest national security breach in American history. Wow, that sounds like hyperbole, Malcolm. How is that even possible? What with Aldrich Ames and the Walker spy ring and all of those things? Well, believe it or not, Aldrich Ames compromised the CIA and CIA's human intelligence assets, but did not endanger the entire national security of the United States. Same thing with the Walker spy ring. They endangered cryptographic systems at that time, which were constantly in flux for our secure communications, gave, some low-level intelligence, but they did not compromise the entire national security of the United States at the level we refer to in the world that I come from, the crown jewels. Let me define some things for you. What is crown jewels intelligence? Crown jewels intelligence is intelligence at the absolute tippy-top decision-making levers of government. Vladimir Putin and all of his senior staff having discussions together, or the senior staff's internal deliberations, which are operating at their top secret level, are considered crown jewels intelligence. Also, intelligence related to the security of their communication system. That's a crown jewels intelligence. And here's something that we should all know. The United States has spent 100 plus years trying to draft systems together and get electronic systems in the modern age in such a way that you cannot actually break into them. And we have formed these systems, these beautiful, incredible security systems, which are operated and developed by the National Security Agency and the Central Security Service, so that American military communications and the communications of the National Command Authority, that's the president and his senior staff, so that they can deliberate as easily as possible in such a way that their systems cannot be broken into by a hostile intelligence power. Now,
so just as you, sorry about that, but think about. I'm just gonna move this from the screen. He's going into all of it. He really lays down the information, and it is intense. Even down to, I'm going to show you one part of this that is going to really help you. But again, I want you to go there and look at it for yourself, because it is fascinating. And it's going to help us in our conversation tomorrow, but it is absolutely fascinating. I've never heard anyone lay it down like Malcolm did to this morning. And I'm just going to give you just a little piece of it so you can see what I'm talking about. he breaks it down with the board and everything.
Way back in the oldie days, we really did have to use the vacuum cleaner method to scan the sky to get electronic signals and find whatever it is that we want. In the mobile phone world, it became much more difficult. Everyone had a phone. Every individual had a phone. And the best way to get that information from your target you want is go after the target. In this case, a guy who was a Fox News host who used to drink a lot. So he is now Secretary of Defense. That Secretary of Defense is not using the secure cryptographic systems that are on his desk, which he talks to his combatant commanders with. He is not talking on the red phones that he could call the White House with. He is talking on a mobile phone, which could have been issued to him by the government, which may not have cryptographic security systems, but more than likely, it was his private phone. Based on what we're seeing, it likely was his private phone, because who wants to change their number, right? You got to sit there, you got to go through all those text messages, tell everybody who this, right? New phone, who that. So once we know your number, and we're going to know your number because you're Secretary of Defense now, and I'm going to exert every resource in my government to find your phone. And you know how we're going to get your phone number? I'm going to tell you how we're going to get your phone number. We're going to go find the freaking producers over at Fox News, and we're going to ask somebody, or somebody's going to tell us, or somebody who was a friend of a friend who got invited has your number in their phone, like your homies, your wife, or your boo-boo. And I'm not saying he has one, I'm just saying this is an example, right? All of these people are not the Secretary of Defense, and they do not have secure phones. So if I want Pete Hegseth's number, I'm going to go to somebody who's on the periphery, who has Pete Hegseth's number, right? And I'm going to watch all of their communications and watch their interactions with you. Take their phone schedules, their phone logs, and find out all the intersecting relationships between you and them. Then I have a way in, because you can spoof them. That means pretend to be those people. You can infect their phones to infect your phone. And now, because you're carrying this signals intelligence bonanza on your person at all times, and it's not secure, and you're not in a sensitive compartmented information facility where you're supposed to leave your phone out there, you're Secretary of Defense, you get into your armored Suburban, this thing is on you, could be collecting, could be transmitting, or if it's not transmitting, could be scheduled to transmit at a later date and time. Could be some form of burst communications, could be in an app out there that when you open it, right, like, some app out there like Signal, it automatically communicates with whoever has installed it and is passing information on. It could be a giant microphone to China. And wherever you carry it. See this blue circle? That is your top secret security environment. But your phone is in it, which is why we leave them outside of the skiff. We don't want top secrets that are being discovered.
Did you hear that? That is what this is what he did. This is what he does, what he used to do for a living. This was his job, to spy on other countries. This is not some secondary person like the news media is talking. I'm surprised none of the news people have him on their show. But again, it's not about telling you the truth, right? You need to go and look at this footage. It is, Anthony says, Anthony says, he laid the game down quite flat. Derek says, as I keep saying, the stooges running the White House. Absolutely. We are in danger. When he goes on more into this and shows how it doesn't just stop with what the Atlantic journalists shared. Because now they are already in, they're in all of these people's phones. They're in all of these people's phones. And this is the vice president, the secretary of state, and the list goes on. And not only are they in their devices, but they can now go back to all of the conversations they've had in the past. Because this is not the first time they've had this conversation and the stuff that they talk about. He even goes into how they used to do the research. And then he talks about how they function in World War II and what it was to tap the line. I mean, this is incredible. And this is probably one of I love all of Malcolm's stuff. I mean, he had another one that he was talking about with Terrell, who's a gentleman who lives in Ukraine, journalist that lives in Ukraine on the front lines. And guys, you notice, and this is not to be black and white, but I have to go there. This man is highly intelligent, highly accredited, highly. And then the gentleman, Terrell Starr, I don't know if you ever heard of Terrell Starr. We're going to bring him up. I'll probably bring him up tomorrow. Terrell Starr is a journalist, a black journalist that lives in Ukraine, in Kyiv. And he is giving information every day, all the time, about what's going on in Ukraine. Because the stuff that you see on the news is not what is being said and not is being lived out in Ukraine. But here's another black man that speaks Ukrainian and Russian. And his credentials are incredible. We have amazing black journalists on the front line that have all of this information. And we, as the black community or people of color, we need to tap in. If you want to get your information, because again, ABC, they're giving you just a piece of the news. NBC, CBS, they're just giving you pieces. Here's a couple of pieces. You need to tap in. I would, if you're on YouTube, go into his YouTube channel. And I think what's the other platform? Stack. I don't know why it escapes my brain right now. Substack. If you have a Substack account, follow Malcolm Nance. Follow Terrell Starr. Follow Joy Reid. Follow Don Lemon. These are people, because guess what? And we know in the black community. So I make this a black and white situation, but this is America. Everything's black and white. We have our journalists, people in our communities that are on the top of their game, in the top of these professions. They had to work 100 times harder to get where they are. Don Lemon didn't just pop up on the scene. That man had to work his butt off to be one of the most influential top journalists, anchor people in this country. And that's why his channel is doing amazing. Because people are like swarming because they want to know truth. Right? You need to invest in the people that are investing in you. Making sure, I mean, they're taking their lives and putting it on the line. Terrell Starr is on the front lines in Ukraine right now. One of my friends, he's a photojournalist. He pays his own way to be in Ukraine, photographing on the war out there in the warfront areas. There are lots of people of color that are putting it on the front line, that are giving it all so that you and I could have the information we need. Because when you're armed with all of the information, you can make better decisions. You are a better decision maker because you have all the information. So I know I don't want to keep you on for a whole another hour. I'm just going to get ready to get off here. But I just wanted you to know what we're going to be talking about tomorrow in our Trend Watch Thursday. That's what we'll be talking about, because this is not going away. We have had a major breach. On top of that, one of the people that were on the call was in Moscow. And not at the embassy, the American embassy, where he could have had his electronics, Hold on a second. Why is that coming up here? Okay, there we go. But you know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? We are in danger. Notice what can happen. Notice what can happen is that, one, because of this situation, guess what? Our allies can't help. They can't trust us. Our allies can't trust us. Our allies can't give us information because we have people in our leadership that are on the wrong side. So if there's something bad about to happen, we may not get that information as a country because we cannot be trusted. I mean, you thought having all those documents hanging out in the bathroom in Mar-a-Lago was something bad. These people have no regard for this country. When things are top secret, they're top secret for a reason. Think about all of the lives to gather information. There are lots of spies. All countries have spies. But those spies, those CIA agents, they put their lives on the line so that way we could be protected. And these people are treating it like, it's not important. It's not secret. It's not this. It's not that. And they don't realize what they've done has endangered every one of us. Every one of us is in danger. And I don't live in fear, but I do live in knowledge. We are in dangerous territory, and America, this, as Nance says, this was the worst breach in American history. Think about it. Let that sit in. It's the worst in American history. Coming from a professional. This is what he does for a living. So I'll put the link in the description of this YouTube video, so that way you can go and check it out. I already did a post on my YouTube feed, so you can see, you can connect with it. This is so important that you understand the severity of this. And like Don Lemon said this morning, under any other administration, in any other time, any other era, this would have been what they call rocking. It would have rocked the White House. It would have rocked the Congress. They would have asked for impeachment and resignations, firings. But we live in the Trump era, so we're under a dictatorship situation, right? So he just sweeps it under the rug. Oh, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. Or, like Trump said, I didn't know anything about it. Like he always says, how is the person that knows about everything, that talks about he knows everything, doesn't know about this? You're the president of the United States. We've been compromised. We knew we were compromised because of his connection to Russia. But now we know we are more than compromised because of their stupidity. Just stupid people. Unqualified people in command. You think the 4-star general would have let this happen? No. Anyways. Just had to let you guys know in the moment, because tomorrow is a new day. Hopefully, you need to know today. And again, take a look at this. I can go more into the video, but I'll let you look at it, learn from it, listen to it, and I'll continue to post. I see here what you guys are saying. And Adrian says, this is all crazy. I see Anthony says, wow, praying your own way to a war zone, paying your way to a war zone, that's heavy. God bless him. Yeah. There's a lot of, and guess what? Black photographers don't get the exposure that white photographers get in covering stories. But yet they may they are putting their lives on the line. Not may, they are. Jazzy said, it's actually scary. Anthony says, terrifying. And Jazzy says that part. Jazzy says also, this idiot's named the group chat Houthi PC small group. Yeah, I know. Like like in the spy movies, at least they would say codes, code ocean rank 3 or something like that. Some off. They just named it exactly what it was. These people are incompetent. Anthony says the president would be nailed to the wall. They ranked him Obama over Coles because of a tan suit. That's right. You can see the hypocrisy of the Republicans, as always. Don't want to talk about it. Don't want to deal with it. This is their making, their creation. Okay, it's time that you guys go. I had we had a great time with Dr. Vibe. Check out, I'll have all his information connected also on the in the description of this video. And you'll be able to get that. And then also information for Malcolm Nance. Check out his page, check out his Substack. And then we'll be here tomorrow talking about Trend Watch, what's going on in the news. So we'll do that tomorrow. Okay, guys, have a wonderful rest of the day. Happy hump day. And if you are around this evening, you know what we do in the evenings. We have our Twitch at night. Can I get it? Can I? Where's my little Twitch at night banner? This is what we do. That's right. Twitch at night. And so we'll be doing that this evening at 11:30ish. So we'll be hanging out, playing our games, playing our Wordle, Connection, and our Spelling Bee. So check it out. We'll have a great time this evening. And so join us this evening at 11:30 tonight. And then tomorrow we'll have our Touch Base Daily. Okay, guys. Donette says, thanks, Ron. Donette says, hypocrisy at its finest. Yes, Dr. Tachi says, thank you. Again, thank you, Dr. Tachi, for all that you do for us in Indie Soup and all that you do to help us all, grow and support one another. Thank you so much. I appreciate you very much. Okay, guys, we're out of here. It is now time to get out. It is 12:30. Later, guys. Love you all and see you later on tonight. Bye-bye. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and leave a comment on this video. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again. Until I see you next time.